Hey guys, welcome back for another tutorial on HTML and CSS. For this lesson, we're going to look at how to create this cool hover animation or product list. And we're going to be looking at how to create this drop-down menu using CSS properties. So let's just head over to glitch.com and start right away. So in the previous lesson, we have built the websites and the product list and everything. So let's just use that same project. So as you would remember, we got this navigation item for this navbar on top for our websites, which we're going to be manipulating to create the drop-down menu. So what I'm going to do right now is first of all, I'm gonna wrap this inside a unordered list so that we can target things easily, right? So as you can see, like the moment that we put it in under unordered list, we need to reset the flex box styling as well. So let's just give this a name of nav list, right? Then head over to style.css, scroll up, go back to your nav item styling. You can actually cut this, right? And go down, create a CSS for nav list. You can actually paste this to match the same styling. So what you're gonna do for this is actually type in a display, set it to flags direction to row, then justify the content to space between, align items to align the items on a vertical align, and add some margins. So we can actually reduce this a bit, right? So we got back the same styling, right? So let's begin adding the submenu under the About Us. So I'm going to add a submenu under the About Us. So it's going to have a list of items like content, media, and so on and so forth, right? So let's just do that. So I'm just going to right underneath the About Us anchor tag, add a list, unordered list. You can give it a class of submenu, right? And start adding the line items. Just gonna say hello over here. Add the next one. And the last one. There we are. So you got a sub menu of 3 items over here. So we're going to be sitting right below the About Us. So as you can see right now, the sub menu is actually placed inside the nav bar. So we're going to change that because it's stretching out our nav bar and it doesn't look nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to target the sub menu. So you can just call it sub menu and set the width to max width to 20% because we don't want it to stretch more than it should stretch on the page. So and we're gonna have a padding. So just to see what's going on, so I'm gonna have add a background color of white. I'm gonna add a border radius, 10 pixels, right? Then I'm gonna add a box shadow. So we can just grab a color from Flat UI colors. So I'm just gonna go for this. So I'm just gonna paste it there. You're gonna have a box, something like that. But you know, as I said before, it's sitting inside, so we're gonna fix that. So we're gonna be using this property called position. A CSS property called position. So we actually use it to place items to its nearest parent, because without placing it inside of the same container, right? So it's going to be floating on a different layer. So think of it, the main item is sitting on the back row, and you are placing the items on the front row, and you can actually position it accordingly by adjusting the top, left, bottom values, or even right. So you can actually position it according to the pixels that placement that you want to put into, right? So let's head back. So that's why, you know, as you can see, so it's actually sitting on a different layer. So, and sitting right below the about us. So you got a very nice menu over here. So, and by default, it's going to be visible. So we're going to hide it first. So we're going to use another CSS property called visibility. So we're going to set visibility to hidden. So if we set it to hidden, it's going to be hidden from the view. But if you want to switch it back, you need to put it visibility to visible. So we're going to be doing that in the hover animation later. So now when we move over the mouse, we want the submenu to be visible. So what we're going to do is we're going to target the navbar. We're going to use the hover, and after that followed by the submenu. So, and we're going to set the visibility to visible. Right, so when we move over the side, the drop menu actually shows up, submenu actually shows up, right? So I'm gonna be, as you can see, the transition is a bit abrupt. So I wanna do like an animation just to ease into to the next view. So we'll be using this CSS property called transition. So transition allows you to actually animate from the initial state to the second state by targeting the CSS properties like opacity, scale, width, and etc. So we're going to be using this, and later on we're going to be using transform to actually allow a particular object to move or rotate or scale up. So using this transform property, right? So let's just use that. So all you have to do is put transition to 2s and ease. So if you don't put a property in front, it's going to be applying to all the states. So what you can see is like, you know, so let's put opacity 0 here and opacity 1. Yeah. So as you can see, you know, the animation is like slowly fades in. All right. So let's decrease the time so that the animation is a bit faster. All right, that looks neat. All right, let's just change the color inside of the hover. All right, so all you have to do is color, set it to red, for example. Instead, you should be targeting the submenu and the A and set hover on it. All right, so you set the color to red or a background to the previous gray. All right, so when you hover over it, it's going to be applying those CSS for you. All right, so this doesn't look nice, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the background and just going to apply it in the color. All right, so you got this effect. All right, so as you can see, you know, when the mouse leaves, the animation is abrupt. So what you have to do is you add the transition on the initial state as well. So because, you know, you need to transfer back to its original state, right? Okay, right, that's all, as simple as that. So let's move to the product list. So let's modify this and to make it much cooler. So we'll be using that transition and transform to modify this list. So let's have a look right now. This is what we got right now. There's no animation just on the button. All right, let's have a look at the container, product list right now. So what we have is we have a card item, which is this card. Then we got this image inside it. Then after that, we got the text, and we got the buy button, which has the buy details. So I'm gonna add a details class to these buttons because I will be animating it so that it can move from bottom to up. So I'll be applying that class to the first 3 buy buttons. All right, okay, so let's just go into the let's work on the image first. All right, so what we have to do right now is, so we target the card and on hover we want to actually change the image properties. So you set transform scale 1.3 because it's gonna increase 30% in size. All right, so it's gonna be like that. All right, but as I said, it's very abrupt, so we're gonna add a transition to it. All right, let's Eve. As you can see, it flows nicely and covers up. But when it leaves, it's just gonna drop. So what we're gonna do is add an initial state for the card image, transition, so when it leaves, it's like a gooey effect. All right, So next I'm going to work on the button. So I want it to, slide up. So what I'm going to do right now is card details. Oops, card details. Then we're targeting the button, right? So I'm gonna set this position related top to 50 px because I want it to move from bottom to up, so that's why I'm actually displacing it by 50 pixels. Then I'm gonna add transition. Okay, and let's add the hover effect so that we can see the difference, right? Hover and details. So add the transition. And we want it to move up. So it will be top set to 0 pixels. All right, that looks neat. But on the initial condition, it's visible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set visibility to hidden. Okay. Right now it doesn't look. So you should put visibility visible on the hover state. Right. That looks nice, but it's still, at the initial state, you can still see the button. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the opacity set to 0, and I'm gonna add the opacity set to 1. So this is the initial condition. This is the hover state. All right. So when it moves in, it looks like as if it's fading in. All right. Let's look at the full page. Hey, there's actually an overlap. So what I'm gonna do is, so I'm gonna drop the scale down to 2, so it doesn't overflow that much. All right, so it doesn't overlap that much, and you can actually turn it down as well. Maybe 1, just nice. Okay. And the button is still having its own hover animation, right? So the annoying part is the text is still visible when we actually have this animation. It doesn't look nice. So what I'm gonna do is, so let's add a hover effect for the text and the title. So it should be card hover dot text, card hover dot title. So we're gonna be hiding both items. So set opacity to 0. So as you can see, you got a very clean looking card, right? So let's look at the, right, that is looking nice. And the text is it's abrupt, so I'm gonna add a transition for this as well. So transition, let's put it fairly quickly, all right? Let's add it. Let's set it to 1. And we should be adding the initial states as well. So opacity 1, transition 0.5. So when you can see, it'll fade in nicely, a bit more professional looking. Right, that's about it. Right. So as you can see, the difference, I didn't add the details class for this button, so that's why you don't see the animation, right, for the button. Okay, that's about it. So we have learned about CSS position, CSS transform and transition on this lesson. So hope you guys gonna play around and create unique hover animations. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson.